you get it? Okay. So I'm not sure what happened here. That's not a pretty QR code. But anyway, with a call to action checklist, there's different things that you want to look at when you're creating your call to actions. And it can seem very basic, right? But the color of that button, right? Warm colors typically do better than a cold color, right? Where is that call to action positioned on that page? What's the language you use, right? Do you use download? Do you use unlock? Do you use hook me up, right? At the end of the day, you need to understand your buyers. What is the language that they want you to use with them, and what's going to get them to click on those buttons? Don't let them get lost, right? So 44% of marketers are actually directing their traffic to the homepage. Well, like I said again, there's a lot going on the homepage. So if you're bringing them in through a specific campaign or through a specific ebook, have a landing page that's for that campaign so they know exactly what they're supposed to be doing and why they're there. If you're driving to the homepage, typically they're going to click on there, not sure exactly what they need to do, and then they're going to leave. With a campaign that's specific to them, it speaks to them, right? They're more inclined to probably stay on the page, click around, and complete the call to action. 3 things to know. So this is just to kind of summarize, right, for us, right, when we're doing campaigns, what really works. So number 1, numbers in a subject line increase opens, right? So 3 things to know, 5 things not to do, top 10 tips, right? It's very actionable, they know what they're gonna get, and it's easy to digest. Customizing with a business or first name, right? So personalizing that message in the subject line, right? It's all about the subject line. If they don't like the subject line, they're never gonna open the email and see the copy. So, think about saying, hi, Jenny, here's a great ebook that you might like, or maybe it's the company name. So think about that. Also, lastly, don't be shy about sending on Saturdays or light holidays. Back home, whether it's like a Labor Day or Memorial Day, we did a campaign that was targeted towards C-level, and we were surprised because we sent it on a Saturday, and we had the highest open rates ever. And I think it's because during the week they're so busy, right? And on Saturdays, maybe they're able to kind of sit back, have some coffee, and kind of go through their emails. So we saw higher open rates when we actually sent it on a Saturday. So lastly on my part, I'm going to talk about nurture, right? So we've now generated this awareness. We have traffic coming to our website, right? Now we've captured their contact information. How do I nurture them? Because typically the buyer that's going to come in and download that ebook, they're probably not ready to buy today. They may not even be ready to buy in 3 months, right? So how do I nurture them with content without having my salespeople contact them right away, right? Because they're not ready to buy, but they may go on to buy in the next, 90 days. So what's lead nurturing? Is anybody familiar with the term lead nurturing here? Awesome. Okay. Does anybody use marketing automation in here? Yes. Okay. A handful of us. So an automated email program, it encourages a prospect to interact with your brand. And it helps to warm them up over time, right? And it allows you to send highly targeted messages. So you can do some advanced segmentation in your system, right? Based on somebody that maybe last visited this website or this web page with this title, and then be able to segment based on that. So then when you're communicating to them, your content is a lot more personalized to what their needs are. A couple fast facts. So with lead nurturing, companies that excel at lead nurturing see about 50% more sales-ready leads at a 33% lower cost. And what Atri was saying is sales guys are really expensive, right? So today, marketers are able to kind of warm up those leads, prime them, and only once they've kind of shown an interest or a certain score, then you can pass them over to sales and let sales then close that deal. Also, nurtured leads, 47% larger deals, right? I think over time, you start building credibility and trust with those buyers. So when they finally decide on the company to go with, they end up making a bigger purchase. So at the nurture stage, again, it's all about a persona. You need to know who your buyers are, and you need to nurture them accordingly. So these are just some things. Every time I do that, it always pops to the next thing. Anyway, with your personas, right? What's the job level? What's their job function? What keeps them up at night, right? Where do they spend time online? Really understand who these buyers are. And with buyer personas, it can take some time to really develop a solid persona. So I would always say start with the 3 key personas that are driving the most sales or revenue, right, within the business, and work from there. So you define your personas, then you need to define what the buying process is, right? Your business is going to have different stages. And there's different needs at each one. I don't know why it always pops to that. Okay. So anyway, and then what you need to do is once you've identified your personas and then what their needs are, you then need to map the content back to those stages, right? So for instance here, we have Molly, the marketing machine. What's her issue, right? Well, she needs to generate more sales-ready leads, right? So what is the type of content that we can create or nurture her with or drip to her over a period of time that's going to help educate her and bring her through that journey? So again, in the beginning stages, you're really addressing a day-to-day pain point. Whereas in the later stages, you're helping to kind of build, interest and validate trust with them. So it's different type of content. Up front, you're dripping very kind of like an infographic or an ebook or a white paper. And then towards the later stages, it's probably going to be customer case studies, testimonials, analyst reports, and things like that. So it just depends on where they are and the different types of content that they're going to be looking to consume. So lead scoring. Lead scoring is something that you can actually do with a marketing automation platform, but it's an objective way to be able to measure the readiness of your buyers, right? And you can score, based on different criterias. So two things, it's either who the individual is or what they're doing. So there's demographic information that you can score based on. So say for instance, I'm a company, I don't do business in China, right? So somebody that came in from China, I would probably apply a negative lead score because we can't sell into that business, right? Or if I know I only sell into a CMO and a marketing director, I'm gonna apply a high lead score for those titles. But all other titles, it may be a negative lead score, right? Because I don't want them to apply a lead score because that's not my right buyer. So also you can do the same thing with behavior, right? Certain web pages that may be visited. A pricing page, you're probably gonna apply a higher lead score to that because somebody that's gonna hit the pricing page, there may be an intent to purchase. Whereas somebody that hits your careers page, that's probably gonna be a negative score because I think they're more interested in working at the company than they are purchasing your technology, right? So you start thinking about the values of those different pages and applying scores to them. And lastly, it's thinking about nurturing in a funnel, right? So it's about obviously dripping content to your buyers and based on these stages. So again, at the top, you're going to introduce the company. You're going to have easier reads, ebooks, and infographics. As they move down that funnel and start engaging with that content and their score starts increasing, you're then going to bring them down to the next stage, which is probably going to be persona-specific content. And then you see them engaging with those type of content, you're going to be bringing them down a funnel again, and you're going to be providing, again, more case studies and analyst reports and things like that to kind of tip them over the edge to eventually purchase their technology. And I'm going to pass it back over to Atri because he's going to talk about the convert and the expand stages.
So we've got, about 5 minutes left, maybe? Sure. Yeah, great. Thanks, Paige. So thanks a lot for, we've sort of gone through this whole process. We've talked about a lot of different things, and they're all interrelated. Starting off with personas, the types of people you're selling to, content you're creating. Then you go into, the different, getting people to your site, converting them, or at capturing them and then nurturing them. I'm now going to talk about sort of like, that's all the front-end marketing work that's done. Now it gets to how do you work with the sales team and more effectively convert. How many people here have a business-to-business sort of organization where you've got a field sales team or an inside sales team? Okay. So this applies completely to you. Well, now I'm not getting, okay. Lots of research, there's many different companies who've done research on this. Gartner Group, Serious Decisions is another one. They talk about the fact that organizations that have a tightly integrated sales and marketing organization and they have alignment close a lot more business. Because in this new journey, having this thing going backwards and forwards, having that alignment all the way through from the persona development all the way through to lead scoring, and then using that lead scoring to effectively route those leads to the right salespeople makes a big, big, big difference in how your close rates are. The fact is, as I said earlier, we as marketers are measured on revenue these days. We have to think about that. We have to always be cognizant of the fact that not only are we generating brand awareness, we're generating leads. We have to generate good quality leads, and those good quality leads convert into revenue, and then measure it all along the way so that we can adjust change the amount of dollars we're going to spend or pounds